And just a heads up, the video you are about to view has been delayed due to confusion. I mean, concussion. It was delayed due to concussion. I bonked my head a little bit and couldn't spend as much time looking at a computer screen to edit this video for a while, but I'm doing fine now. It's very mild concussion. I'm about a week out as of recording this voiceover, and the symptoms are definitely on their way out the door pretty soon, so that's good. You can normally expect a new video every Wednesday at noon Eastern Time. And now for the episode review. Bart. Bart, Bart, Bart. Bart, Bart. 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 With Bart having been a breakout star right away when the show was new, I think it's pretty interesting to look at the first Bart-centric episode of the show. Welcome to the Simpsons Season 1, Episode 2, Bart the Genius, an episode where Bart cheats on an intelligence test and tricks his school and parents into thinking he's a genius, leading him to get moved to a Montessori school. Hilarity may or may not ensue. Let's find out. So let's look at the humor of the episode, because as we all know, The Simpsons is a sitcom. Or is it? Well, maybe not. I think the first episode had consistent enough comedic elements that, being more familiar with the show's later seasons, we might get fooled into thinking we're watching a slower-paced sitcom. But this episode indicates that we're more watching an animated drama with some emphasis on humor, but the humor is secondary to the plot. And that's really important to understand when judging this episode's humor, because there are long segments of the episode with few to no jokes. Now, with that being the case, I think the writers were smart to lead and end with their best comedic moments. The Quidgy scene is my favorite joke of the episode, especially Marge chiming in about the short temper part, and I think it's a memorable enough joke to deserve an S-, with the visual of Homer trying to get into Bart's room at the end getting an A. That's a pretty great moment. A lot of the humor throughout the episode is, quite fittingly for the episode's topic, subtle and reliant on the audience coming to the table with knowledge about science and culture. For example, Maggie's stack of blocks at the very beginning is a nod to Einstein's mass energy equivalence, the classic E equals mc squared. And I don't think I ever would have noticed that joke myself. My brother pointed it out to me while I was watching the episode while writing the script. You also gotta really be listening when Homer erroneously credits Albert Einstein with inventing the light bulb at the end when he's washing Bart with turpentine. These are jokes that aren't even delivered as jokes, but when you notice them, they're really nice. So I'd give both an A-. Pretty much everything else throughout the episode is B+ for the times the episode endeavors to be funny. I would give Bart's lyrics to the Toreador song an A- if, one, his voice were a little louder in the mix to make it easier to hear what he's singing, and two, if the joke had broader appeal. It kind of relies on you knowing that a cuspidor is another word for a spittoon and a toreador is a bullfighter. It's funny, but certainly for the thinking crowd. And again, this episode is going for a lot more subtle and intellectual humor. It's more delightful than hilarious. Now, I don't expect to bother grading couch gags very often. This one is actually really good, even if it's simple. It gets an A-. Overall, with my sensibilities being so largely shaped by the sitcom-y later seasons, it's hard not to feel like this episode would benefit from more jokes. The Montessori school segments, in particular, can feel like a drag. And when the episode goes for jokes, they're quite consistently good but not great, other than the Quidgy bit, which is pretty great. I think this episode deserves a B+ for its humor. As for the plot, this episode is such an emotional journey for Bart. He's clearly excited for his new life in a school without walls, but quickly finds himself disappointed and unable to keep up. And it's compelling to see him sitting in Dr. Pryor's office after the chemistry experiment disaster. He's feeling backed into a corner and not sure how to get out, as he finds himself unable to bluff his way out anymore, even though he tries. And maybe it's just me, but I feel like we probably all have a childhood memory or two that's evoked by that scene. It just feels so authentic. I also love the screw the audience ending. We get another one in this episode where you expect Homer's heart to be warmed by Bart's impassioned speech, but he ends up going berserk on him. And Nancy Cartwright's vocal delivery during that speech is really quite excellent and totally leads towards that happy and cuddly ending. And so I think it makes that twist more dramatic. There are aspects of the plot I'm not as keen on, though. I have mixed feelings about how Bart was able to so easily get away with swapping his test with Martin's. Because on the one hand, it's funny and kind of fits in with the continued characterization of the adults of Springfield as overall being pretty incompetent, but it feels like a little bit of a plot hole that Martin's test, the one that Bart did and put Martin's name on, that is, coming back, that didn't raise red flags. There's also a plot hole at the end of the episode in that Bart is suddenly home from school without Marge or Homer bringing him home, or even knowing what happened. And it seems to be nighttime, so it would be too late for him to have taken the bus home. So how did Bart get home from school? I mean, I guess it's possible he walked, and that would explain why it's so late, but if that's the case, I think they could have included a quick clip of him walking home to establish that, because it feels like a plot hole to me, especially since it seems strange that the school wouldn't call Marge and Homer about what happened. And so with this episode being more of a drama than a sitcom, the presence of plot holes hurts a lot more than it would an episode from, say, season 5, where plots are deliberately wacky and off the walls and nonsensical. I also think it seems strange that after a previous episode that centers around how the family is just barely scraping by, this episode has the family suddenly able to afford opera and film festival tickets. Due to the production delays that caused the episodes to air out of order, it's certainly possible the writers had some kind of explanation for it. Like perhaps this episode was supposed to air after Homer's Odyssey to explain why Homer is now making more money. But from the perspective we do get from the airing order, it seems a little odd. I also don't know how I feel about the kids tricking Bart into lousy trades at lunch. Like, maybe it's just me, but from my elementary school memories, I don't think trading food is really that much of a thing, and it feels a little forced to me. I guess I don't see how else they could have portrayed Bart's unraveling before the eyes of the other kids, but it doesn't feel terribly authentic to me. Overall, I think this plot deserves a B+. It does a lot of things well, but it also falters in some ways that I think keep it out of A tier. There are a couple other things to talk about real quick. As an audio engineer, I'm probably more likely than most to notice or care, but the sound quality of Bart's voice in this episode is not very good. There's like a lot of room reverb in the mic, and the sound is pretty deficient and high-end. It's interesting to see the show in its early stages, where they didn't always have the budget for like high-end studio time to record the voices. And this episode features a guest voice from the wonderful Marcia Wallace, may she rest in peace, for the characters of Edna Krabappel and Miss Milan. Wallace would continue to provide Miss Krabappel's voice until Wallace's death in 2013 when the show retired the character. And we're a long way away from having celebrities playing themselves. At this point, when we have guest voice actors, they're always playing characters, but spoiler alert, that's going to gradually change as the seasons progress. And now for the final rating. We have a B+ for humor and a B+ for plot. So obviously this episode logically must be given an F-. Wait, no, it gets a coping with senility. I mean a B+. This episode gets a B+. It's pretty good. Probably best if you don't think about it hard enough to notice the plot holes. So sorry for ruining it for you. But hey, there are plenty more amazing episodes left to come, and this one's still pretty good. I'm not sure this episode was great enough to spark the Bart mania craze of the early 1990s, so maybe there's a better Bart episode left to come this season. Thanks for watching. Let me know down in the comments if you liked the episode or not, because this video is all just my opinions. I want to hear what you think. And please make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to get notifications. It really helps out the channel. And next week we'll be looking at Homer's Odyssey, so I will see you in that video.